Have you ever wondered why Suzy Sheep's dad is never on the show? He's the only parent we have never seen, and his absence has led to some wild theories. We've gone down the rabbit hole to uncover the mystery of where he could be, from the simple and realistic to the downright shocking. Get ready, because the answers we found might change the way you look at Peppa Pig forever. Living abroad. You may remember the episode Suzy Goes Away, where Suzy thinks she's going to move because Mummy Sheep got a job in a foreign country. It turned out that Mummy Sheep lost that job before the move even began, and she seemed a bit sad about it. The reason for her sadness seems obvious. She thought she was getting a better job than her current one. However, some fans believe the real reason Mummy Sheep accepted that position was to reunite with her husband who lives abroad. Our guess is the United States. Suzy and her mom live in England, which is on a completely different continent. Suzy's dad may have simply moved to another country to work in a high-paying job. Most of his salary is probably used to cover Mummy Sheep's expenses. Maybe Suzy and her mom even travel occasionally to visit him, but this is never shown in the show. The narrator.
It is a lovely sunny day at Suzy's house.
What if Suzy Sheep's dad is a character we've all heard but never seen? It's possible his voice has been in every episode of the show, making him closer than we thought. Yes, we're talking about the narrator. We think that Suzy's dad might very well be the narrator of Peppa Pig, who always steps in to clarify something that's happening, even when the situation is completely obvious.
Suzy Sheep has come to play with Peppa.
Both the narrator and Daddy Sheep have never been seen, and we have no clue what the narrator could actually be. Is he an invisible entity? A person spying on everyone through hidden cameras? Maybe the show will never reveal the truth about this mysterious figure. But one theory we cannot dismiss is that Suzy's dad somehow became the narrator, which explains his disappearance. You should know that magic exists in the Peppa Pig world, as magical beings like the Tooth Fairy appear in the series, so nothing stops the narrator from being a character with powers, instead of just a storytelling resource for the show. But we can't even imagine why he would narrate Peppa's adventures. Wouldn't it make more sense for him to keep an eye on his own daughter? Well, maybe we can find the answer if we look at the situation from a bigger perspective. We know Daddy Sheep simply disappeared, and the theory that he became the narrator makes a lot of sense. Mr. Goat. There's another possibility that most people might have overlooked. Suzy's dad might have already appeared in the show, and neither Peppa nor the audience noticed him. You might be thinking, a character we've already seen was Suzy's dad all along? Exactly. We're talking about Mr. Goat, who lives in Italy. He first appeared in the episodes where the pig family travels to Italy. At first, this might seem crazy since he's not a sheep. After all, the couples in the show always have been of the same species. But let's not forget that sheep and goats are very similar animals, so much so that they can even have offspring together. But there's more. The fact that Mr. Goat lives in Italy explains why he's never around. Maybe Mummy Sheep lived in Italy for a few years and was married to Mr. Goat until they divorced. And after the divorce, she returned back to her home country, which is why the pig family didn't know Mr. Goat when they met him during their trip. Interestingly, just as Mummy Sheep is a single mum, Mr. Goat also seems to be a single dad. He has a daughter named Gabriella, whose mother has never been seen, even though her uncles have. Gabriella appears to be around the same age as Suzy. So, did he have Gabriella with another woman? Or is she also Mummy Sheep's daughter? Maybe they're even twins, with one sister taking after her father and the other taking after her mother. And just like in real life, the sisters may have been separated by their parents after the divorce. Either way, they would be at least half-sisters if this theory holds up. Do you think Suzy and Gabriella know about this, or did their parents keep it a secret? It's possible they don't know, since Suzy has never mentioned it, and she would definitely have told Peppa, right? Passed away. So far, we haven't even heard a mention of Daddy Sheep, so it's possible that the answer to this mystery is much darker than we've imagined. There are a few hints that he might have passed away from an illness. In the episode where Peppa's playgroup visits Pedro Pony in the hospital, Suzy confidently says he's probably sleeping because sick people sleep. We could think that Suzy, who dreams of becoming a nurse, read this somewhere or just made it up. But what if that's not the case? Suzy says this with a lot of confidence, perhaps because it's what her mom told her when she asked why her dad hadn't come home after he got sick. Suzy believes he's still sleeping, but in reality, Mummy Sheep might have said that because she didn't know how to tell Suzy that her dad had died from the illness. Another theory is that Mummy Sheep wasn't lying at all. Some illnesses can cause people to go into a coma. In these cases, it's like they're always asleep, with a chance of waking up someday or staying in that state forever. Maybe this is why Suzy wants to be a nurse, to be able to take care of her own dad. But if Daddy Sheep is in a coma, just imagine seeing him wake up in a future episode. It would be amazing and heartbreaking at the same time, since he'd realize he missed so many years of his life. But of course, he'd be so grateful to spend the rest of his time with Suzy and Mummy Sheep. This would definitely be the best episode of the series. Clone? If you thought the last theory was strange, this one might top it. Let's talk about something really weird. In the entire world of Peppa Pig, there are no male sheep at all. You won't find them in the playground, in the background, or even in large crowds. Suzy's whole family is female. Her mom, her grandma, her cousin. But no dad. This has led some people to believe that Suzy wasn't born the natural way. She might have been cloned. It sounds wild, but it actually lines up with real-world science. The very first cloned animal was a sheep named Dolly, and she was created in the UK, just like the show's setting. Here's another odd detail. Suzy wears pajamas with an anchor on them, and this anchor symbol is linked with Grandpa Rabbit in the show. And as we know, he is known for his strange inventions. What if he's the one behind the cloning project? Maybe Suzy's strange behavior isn't her being mysterious. Maybe she's just trying to figure out who she is. After all, if your dad was a lab, you'd have some questions too. Jail. This theory is definitely a darker one. What if Suzy's dad committed a crime and is currently in jail? This would explain why he's not around, and why Mummy Sheep is a single parent. The show would never address this directly because of its young target audience. The lack of male sheep in the series could be a subtle hint about the consequences of his actions. This theory paints Mummy Sheep's plan to move as a way to get away from the judgment of their community. It's a sad but plausible explanation for his absence. Since Peppa Pig is a show for little kids, they would never say something so serious out loud, but it could be a secret in the show. Maybe Mummy Sheep is raising Suzy all by herself to keep her safe and away from any trouble. Missing sailor. If you have watched Peppa Pig closely, then you might know that Suzy wears a pajama that has an anchor symbol on it. And this anchor pajama may not be just a random outfit. This is a significant clue. In the world of Peppa Pig, characters who wear anchors, like Grandpa Pig and Grandpa Rabbit, are all tied to the sea. The fact that Suzy, a character with no known connection to the ocean, wears them could mean she's honoring her father. He might have been a sailor who was lost at sea, or perhaps even a pirate. This would explain his total absence from the show. The pajamas could be a way for Suzy to feel close to the father she lost. A subtle but heartbreaking detail that hints at a much darker backstory than the cheerful cartoon usually lets on. Divorced. This theory suggests that the mystery of Suzy Sheep's dad isn't a mystery at all. He's not lost at sea, he hasn't run away, and he's not a magical voice in the sky. Instead, he and Mummy Sheep are simply divorced. He might be living in another city, or he could even be married to another person and living with them. The show, being aimed at a very young audience, likely chooses not to address a topic like divorce directly. It's a simple, realistic explanation that doesn't require a dramatic or supernatural backstory. The show just focuses on the part of Suzy's life that's most relevant to her time with her mother and friends. So, what do you think? Do you have any other explanation for Suzy's dad disappearance? If you have, then let us know in the comments. And as always, we'll see you all in the next video.